हरि ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम यतः सर्वाणि भूतानि प्रतिभान्ति स्थितानि च यत्रैव उपशममयन्ति तस्मै सत्यात्मने नमः। ज्ञाता ज्ञानं तथा ज्ञेयं द्रष्टा दर्शनदृश्यभू कर्ता हेतुः क्रिया यस्मात् तस्मै ज्ञात्यात्मने नमः। स्फुरन्ति शिखरा यस्मात् आनन्दसाम्बरे वनौ सर्वेषां जीवनं तस्मै ब्रह्मानन्दात्मने नमः। ब्रह्मानन्दात्मने नमः। वेदोदधिं समुन्मथ्य ज्ञानरत्नं समुद्रितं येन तस्मै वसिष्ठाय गुरुणाम गुरवे नमः। वशिष्ठ जी भगवान की जय। सद्गुरु भगवान की जय। शब्द ब्रह्म की जय। सच्चिदानंद भगवान की जय। सरस्वती महारानी की जय। योग वशिष्ठ जी भगवान की जय। हरि ओम। Sorry for English class we didn't announce 15 minutes late class. Every day we are, because of cold season and short days, we have delayed by 15 minutes. The next Friday will be from 9:45 to 11:15. Sorry. And my hearty prayers, good wishes, and all the positive hopes for all of you for the Christmas day. May Lord Jesus be kind to enlighten us and request Corona to take rest somewhere in the sky away from the earth so that we can recover soon. And in Western countries, severe cold and snow everywhere we saw in television. People are scared of this cold waves. In Japan also, yes, it was something abnormal. Anyway, let nobody suffer in the cold, but let there be cold. Or else the hot season will not be enjoyed so much. Anyhow, we pray God, let all be happy, prosperous, and enjoy their life with God's name and good thoughts and brotherly attitude towards everyone. And let the Christmas day be a super happy day and super happy night also. Thank you. We are discussing our Yoga Vasita Nirvana Prakaran, the last part and first half, and 32nd chapter, wherein we are discussing on the subtle body, and of course we discussed on causal body and physical gross body, and how does it perform its all these you see व्यवहारिक relative duties in relative life, how we have our system in physical body, and how the subtle body also activates the physical body. What does it do? All these we have discussed. And now for today, there was a serious question. You see, by the way of explaining the process of our supreme power, which creates the subtle body and creates the gross body of different kinds, human bodies and heavenly bodies and the lower wombs, bodies of lower wombs. Lower means, you see, the animals and birds and the insects life, etc. All these. Human only has discriminative power, but the other bodies, higher subtle bodies and lower two gross bodies, they have of course mind, but they don't have the discriminative power to see what is good for them, eternally good. That means which is eternal truth, non-perishable truth, and which is perishable, relative acquirements or happiness, which is not long lasting, very transitory and changing. Every now and then it changes. So, by the discriminative power, one can just reject all the mundane happiness, and he can desire for the highest truth, which is non-perishable. So in this way, human beings only can use discriminative power, but intellectual power is always there in different degrees in different bodies. Now, today we have to decide why these bodies are created, how it is created, and what is the root cause. Root cause is vasana, the ideas which are subtler than the even desires. Desires are grosser than the ideas. So the ideas never are dependent on time, space, or causations or conditions. It is not dependable. It is not dependent. And it is just the subtle starting point of the desires. Desires means some thoughts to have something, to get something, or to do something. The desires of icha, uh, will willpower, willpower, and desires how to perform the actions, kriya shakti, the desires to do something, and Gyan Shakti desires to know something. So all these desires are formed afterwards. Before that, the ideas of these desires are there. So they are the ideas are the root cause of these desires, and desires when they are repeated again and again, they become intense desires, anxieties, and intense gross desires, and they multiply without means multiply again and again even after their satisfaction or fulfillment. So this is our very important point, whether the desires should be satisfied, should be fulfilled, and one should enjoy, and then it has to be completed and end there, or one should give up all these, renounce all these desires. What is the real method to have our goal achieved? Goal is to attain that eternal peaceful abode where no changes, that is highest equilibrium state, which is eternal, all pervading, ever present, ever existing, and all knowledge, awareness, that is the real abode of peace and contentment, bliss, and knowledge. And the moment it starts changing or multiplying or doing something, performing something, then our relative world creation starts, and the desires are the root cause for the creation. Now, of course, we have seen before many times how the mind prompts the senses of knowledge, eyes and ears and nose, etc. They, the thoughts, they get out from these windows of the senses and they go out and reach their subjects. Subjects, the subject of eyes are forms, and subject for the object, subject, whatever you say, the object of ears is sound. It must hear something. What is hearing and seeing, etc.? the thoughts get out and get associated with these objects of their uh, own class. Eyes will associate with the forms, and the ears will associate with the sound, etc. So, in this way, these senses of knowledge they associate with the objects, and then they return back to their source. Source is brain, where from they have started, and before that, the vibrations are created in brain cells by the prana, and prana starts from the lotus leaf of the heart. We suppose there is lotus leaf and a lotus which blooms, and there appears the creator, the the universal mind, and on the lotus leaf when it vibrates, this vibrations goes on being created, and those vibrations, process of vibration is known as prana, the energy which activates the whole body as well as creates the mental thoughts, and then thoughts they go out and associate with their particular objects and come back with some impressions, some memories, and deposit in the subtle mind, that is called subconscious mind, and that we call chitta, the the uh, seed form, where all these latent or uh, you see uh, unmanifested seeds of the future, which future ideas and future say desires, uh, which are getting going to multiply and unendingly go on multiplying and spreading out. Those subtle form, seed form of those future desires, they are they are present in the subconscious mind. We call it, we understand it as a storehouse of all the seeds. So now, unless the thoughts get associated with their particular objects, they cannot enjoy the object. What is called enjoyment? Enjoyment means basically, if we see technically, enjoyment is nothing but nearness, closeness of objects you desire for. And you can use it as you like according to time, space, and conditions. That is called enjoyment. And who enjoys? There is no such particular identification who is who will be supposed to be the enjoyer. The enjoyer hood changes, it goes on changing every now and then. You see, sometimes the ego becomes a doer and it becomes the enjoyer. Sometimes the mind thinks I am the doer and enjoyer. Sometimes the senses they do and they enjoy. And in this way, this doership changes and enjoyership also changes. Anyhow, somebody has to enjoy because somebody is supposed to be the doer. So the doer has to enjoy the result of the actions done by it. Now, this is called enjoyment. Enjoyment is nothing but association with the objects of the senses and having it near you, and you can use it whenever as you like for any purpose, and that is also momentary. You have not full freedom to enjoy it as you like. The doer has to enjoy the fruits of the actions, but he has no complete freedom. It is governed by so many aspects, ruled by so many aspects, mainly the authority, highest authority, which controls the whole creation, as it were. We call it the Niyati, the controller, highest controller. Nobody has, nobody has, you see, uh, power to over overpower this aspect, the highest authority. And that highest authority is so subtle, Niyati. It is aware of all causes and conditions, how the action has been performed. So accordingly, the result will be decided. All kinds of all round informations are considered, and then this highest authority, highest ruler uh, decides what is to be the result of this particular action. So it is very complicated, very subtle, very hard to understand. But anyhow, there is something which is the final decisive authority that we call Niyati or God in heaven or the highest controller. In many ways we name it. And when something is done, some action is performed, then there has to be a reaction of it. This is the universal rule, universal rule. Every action will have opposite and equal reaction. So that reaction again becomes cause for further actions. So it goes on in cycle. In this way, one enjoys the result of his actions. Okay? Now, the question is whether it is fulfilled, if it is enjoyed, or it multiplies if it is enjoyed. This is the question. भोग से इच्छाओं की समाप्ति होती है या त्याग से समाप्ति होगी. Whether the desires are ended by enjoying the fulfilling it or enjoying it, or the desires are ended when they are rejected or sacrificed or renounced, they are overlooked, driven out somehow or other. त्याग त्याग तो कितने किस्म से त्याग कर सकते हैं. We can reject it, we can overlook it, we can oversee it, and we can renounce it mentally, physically, in many ways. The other way is fulfilling it. What happens then?
Swamiji, fulfilling is the better way, right?
Yes, better. Why not? That is to see
No,
what happens when.
I'm giving an example.
No, it is no need. Example is not need. Now we are going to see it analytically and if logically. What happens? Then we shall decide which is the reality. First, you have to see how the enjoyment is enjoyed, by whom, what is the process, and what happens after the enjoyment. What is the result of enjoyment, and what is the process of enjoyment. We have just now we saw little how the enjoyment takes place, what is the meaning of enjoyment. So now coming to our.
That example, suppose you want to, I have a desire to eat rasgulla. Okay.
That we shall
Logical
see
is-
afterwards, not now.
No, but this is logical, right? Logical.
We shall see it, have patience. First of all, we have to see the process and what happens in the end. What happens logically, analytically, and with proofs, with scientific proofs of how it happens, process. Result will come afterwards. Yes. So now we have seen how the senses get associated with the objects, particular objects, and they collect the information and deposit it in a particular way, and this is how the seeds of future multiplicatory process of desires or actions are formed in seed form. And we have seen that is called the storehouse, and all kinds of such seeds, that means impressions, are there, eternally there, they are never destroyed, and they wait for the favorable conditions to get out or to multiply somehow or other. The whole universe, whole creation is based upon multiplicatory process only. Everything multiplies. Don't forget this point, basic point. Everything, whatever you see, any name, any form, anything in this creation, everything is bound to multiply. It is, pardon?
Including a thought.
Everything, subtle or gross or anything. Why? Because everything starts with the basic one idea. I am one, let me be many. That is the starting point. You cannot deny it. And practically we see Any object you see, any name, any form, in any way, at any time and in any condition, it has to multiply, it does multiply. See these flowers? Are they going to remain, keep up their number as it is? They have to multiply. They have to. Nature does this work only. It grows. And you see, time is ever growing. What is the meaning of growth? Expanding or multiplying. Area wise, volume wise, it is multiplication. Growth means everything, everything in this nature is bound to spread or grow or multiply. Same thing, same meaning. And it is endless. It has got no end. So if you can understand this principle, basic principle on which the whole creation stands upon.
Totally agreed multiplication, but the multiplication happens only for the living thing. जीवित निर्जीव का क्या है?
No. First, patiently hear all these analysis, and then we shall have question and answer and a fight, and we shall use our sticks, everything.
I think hearing,
Have patience.
after hearing all the things, we will come to a conclusion.
You are bound to come, because we are looking at the subject from every angle.
Ikai.
Yes, you see how it occurs, how the desires multiply, karma theory, and how the perception theory we have seen, how perception happens, how relativity theory is the basic principle for sustenance, for existence of this creation. Without relativity formula, no object can remain as it is. Every object in the cosmos is related with the other, and they have mutual understanding, mutual influence, and everything. Mutual behavior means influence and transaction, giving something, taking something.
Y chromosomes and X.
Yes,
Then
whole cosmos, even an atom is related with the other atom, and that is how the whole creation is sustained as it is. Or else everything will break down, and everything will, there will be, what we can say, yes,
chaos.
yes. Nothing, everything will be confusing, nothing. But now also it is confusing because everything changes. The change takes place in a particular rule. Change also is under rules. Those rules cannot be changed. So in this way the whole universe, all the names and forms, they are related with each other, and they are sustained as per the rules. They move as per the rules of the nature. So, formula of relativity, formula of change, formula of multiplication, growth, and we see how the one how one object get associated with the other object. Association means nearness and not oneness. And we don't, of course, enjoyment occurs in two ways. One way is giving up your identity and becoming completely one with the 100%, one with the object you want to enjoy. That is completeness, complete enjoyment. But that is not seen in this world. If you see why it is not possible in this world, when you give up your identity to be one with the object you want to enjoy, then who is going to enjoy? You have lost your identity. So there is no question of enjoyment. It is only union. And then two becomes one. Then there is no question of relativity, neither enjoyment nor enjoyer. No question. So oneness is impossible in this relative world. Two means there is difference. So your enjoyment also is imperfect, incomplete. It cannot be complete 100%. Now, according to logic, if you have not enjoyed completely 100%, then what will be the situation? You will hanker for completeness. That is the cause, the fundamental cause for our miseries and our restlessness. Because we are not complete, we don't feel completeness. There is no completion in this relative world. No satisfaction. That's why no contentment. And the opposite yoga leads you to santosha amrita triptanam jatsukham santachetasam. You have to attain contentment, 100% contentment, and that leads you to the absolute peaceful abode where everything is complete, everything is perfect, everything is full. There is no need for anything. There is no incompleteness, that's why there is no need, no desires. There cannot be any desire to be complete. Understood now? This is how logic says. Enjoyment cannot be complete. It cannot be perfect. And naturally, because you are not perfect, naturally there will be desire to be perfect. And this is the root cause for the misery of the world. Everybody wants to be complete, to be contented, to enjoy fully, but there is no fullness.
To know this, Shastras will give you the idea.
Of course, and whether you know it or not, whether you are aware of it or not, everybody is in the path of perfection. And that is, in other words, we say the process of the journey of evolution. Why do you develop? What is the need? To be complete, to end it. Yes?
Some enjoyments can be complete temporarily.
Temporarily, everything is everything is everything is possible. Everything, and that satisfaction is not fulfilled. That's why it needs to be repeated again and again. See why this whole creation is a circular process. Everywhere, everything happens in cycle. It repeats again and again. Why? Logically, we can say because it has to be completed. Yes, because it is incomplete, that's why it has to go for completeness. That is how it goes on. Growing means growing where is the end. So, circularly. This is how all the nature goes on in cycle. That means again and again, repeatedly repeated. So, logically, there is no hope. No hope. Now, let us come to see it from different angle. If you understand all these and you can accept for some time, see, if we can find out some examples, have you seen anything in this creation, whatever you have seen in your life, which is never repeated? Can you give any example? Huh?
Birth and death. You are born only once, you die only once.
Once, that is the that is what we are discussing. The death and birth, it is in cycle, it is not for once. Again and again. Again and again. Why? We can see it logically also. Huh?
Birth and death, if you leave that thing, then any other example is there?
Come on. Which is ended for eternity, which needs no repetition and it is ended. Any example in this creation?
Goes into the black hole, gets ended.
Oh, now on your point, we have to see if you have the example that death and birth, it is only for once, not it never repeats. We have seen previously how what is called death and what is called birth. We have seen it analytically. What is called death and what is called birth. Body, physical body, it has to have an end and again it has to be created.
To complete his ichhas.
Yes, and behind all these, and the base, the desire to multiply, to complete, to have complete perfection, the desire is there, which prompts you to go ahead. So how it can be only for once? If you say for your death and your birth, okay, is it something different from the natural process we see practically before us? Is there any name, any form which is only you have seen for once, not for twice. Even the time, all controller time repeats. It is not complete. काल क्या कहते हैं पुनरपि जननम पुनरपि मरणम पुनरपि जननी जठरे शयनम और क्या ये शिशिरवसंतो पुनरायातो कालो गच्छति गच्छत्यायु. Everything is repeated. Do you see only cold season now? Have you not seen cold season in your life before? How can you say anything which is not repeated?
The form, okay, life, this partho, this body.
Are your form, I am telling any other thing you see which is not repeated. Are you away from all these process, worldly process? Are you something different from this world?
Here only.
So everything changes. Your body itself changes. How can you say I am steady and it is not changing? If it is changing, it is repetition. So you have to die means you have to take birth again. Your body is changing, your mind is changing. Every moment you are growing or multiplying, you are trying to complete yourself. Why do you want to know more? Why? Because your knowledge is not complete. It is natural process to have a desire for completeness.
Yeah, there is something that it is said that you cannot jump into the water at the same point where you jumped earlier. It's little longer because the space,
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
earth is moving at very
Everything change. So many times we have discussed and seen logically from all angles, you see, changing phenomena is known as your creation or your nature or your visible world. If it doesn't change, how can you say it is creation? What do you create? Creation means destruction also. If you don't destroy, how can you create? Can you walk by standing at one place steadily? Can you walk? Walking means changing, giving up the past and acquiring or accepting the future. That is how the time is all ruler, over ruler. Time is all powerful because of changing phenomena only. And there is no time, as you said, which never changes. You never feel the time when you actually can enter into meditative mood. Or that black hole, what you say, where there is no time. Time is nothing but a changing process. So this is how the whole world is existing as it is, as you see it. Now, these desires, the theory of action and reaction on which the whole world stands, you see, the desires, the subtle, most existence of desire is ideas, subtle ideas. And when they get multiplied, slowly they get gross and it becomes the desired and then it becomes keen desire or anxieties, and goes on becoming grosser and grosser, and then if it is fulfilled, suppose it is fulfilled, I have a desire to have something. If you have it, if you have had it, then it is fulfilled, the desire is fulfilled. So let us see how it is fulfilled and what happens when the object is achieved. What happens? Suppose I want a pen, anything. I want some sweets, the Christmas sweets, okay? I want that sweet. What for? What for? To enjoy it, isn't it? What is called enjoyment of sweets? I have to eat it. Then what happens? If I have eaten the sweet, it has satisfied means it has got associated with so many different senses. Only some closeness to the senses. First I saw the sweet and I touched it, and the hands took and put in the mouth. So the tongue has swallowed it. How it enjoyed the sweetness? The tongue has enjoyed the sweetness. What happened really? When it comes near the tongue, then some saliva is created and it is dissolved, or the teeth they chew it, and it is thrown to some other part. In this way, only association is taken place, nearness, and it is also momentary, it changes. If it has tasted once, does it not like to taste the other tastes, salties or souries or other sweets? Because there is a need for it. Nobody, it is not completed, and completed means this association is not permanent. So it needs its association permanently. That is fulfillment. But it doesn't happen. It never happens. Suppose I got a pen, I want a new pen, beautiful, easy writing pen. So if I got it, how long I can keep it in my hand? Is it eternally? So when I keep it aside, again I have to need, because I need complete permanent association. It should be always in my hand. Then only it will be fulfilled. The desire will be fulfilled. That never happens. It is impossible. You cannot enjoy anything completely. That is what I want to say. No desires can be fulfilled. Let us come to this point. No desires can be fulfilled. By no way. And if the enjoyment is nearness or closeness, association, relation, It is not permanent. So you cannot enjoy anything completely, permanently. So naturally there will be another desire to have it again. This is how we can see by the analysis of process of enjoyment, what is called enjoyment, how enjoyment is enjoyed, by whom. It is not by any particular identity. There is no ego which can enjoy it. There is no mind which can enjoy it. There is no senses which can enjoy it. It is only a passing phase, passing phenomena. It gets associated with one, then with another, then with another. This is how the changing process. So you cannot enjoy anything. You cannot. How can you fulfill any desire?
Enjoyment is imagination. Enjoyment.
Yes, that is called imagination or ideas.
Is there any phenomena, is there any process to fulfill completely?
See, phenomena means not complete. It is a process. Process. So process is not completion. The end of it is completion.
The process can lead to the completion.
It can, it lead you to end, but it is not an end by itself. So there is no chance for you. No chance, no chance for you. And now you see other examples. You see these desires are of two kinds. Many times we have seen it from by examples. You see, some desires they get ended sometimes. Some desires they end when it is fulfilled. And now we have seen no desire can be fulfilled, but there are some desires which can be fulfilled. You see, exception is everywhere there. Now I will give you some examples. If I have a desire to be desireless, is it not a desire? If I desire for completeness, I desire for an end, and if the desire is satisfied, enjoyed, that means it has reached the end. So naturally it is an end. So in this way there are some particular section, particular class of a particular group of desires which can see its end. Such desires are the desires which are, now we have to see it logically, the desires which are related with the completeness or the perfection or the end or the limit of everything. Those desires will be satisfied one day or other, and then it will end forever, because it is related with the completeness. That's why such desires will be ended one day or other if it is fulfilled. If you see God, that desire is gone forever. Understood now? Example, the hailstones. The hailstones come from the sky, from the clouds, and it destroys everything downneath, and it itself disappears. It destroys other things, and it destroys itself also. The final end is it destroys others and it gets destroyed by itself. So, such desires like hailstones. Let me be released from this natural process of creation. Let me rest forever. This is also a desire. But when I achieve it, there will not be any desire anymore to have something. Let me go to that eternal abode. Let me rest there eternally, which is beyond all these relativities. Is it not a desire? So such desires, let me have desireless state. Let me destroy this storehouse of seeds. That means subconscious mind. Forever and ever, I want to rest. These such kinds of desires are possible by application of your discriminative mind. Mind has got all kinds of aspects, all aspects. And such aspect which is very rare in human beings, one among millions, can have such discriminative mind which is desire itself, but it ends all the desires. Created by discriminative mind. And other mind, they are always endless and they always multiply. They never get completeness and they go on multiplying. This multiplication or progress or growth is known as the evolution theory, evolution process. Everybody is in the process of evolution. We just say, but we don't understand what is the meaning of evolution. Where does it end? What happens to you if you are in the process? Where will you reach? So such type of desires, they will meet an end. They will end in the absolute one. If there are two, there cannot be any end. There will be relationship, association, and dependency, and comparison, and everything. It has got no end. And if it is one absolutely without a second, without possibility of a second, then that is the final end. And such a desire to be that, if you enjoy that, that is eternal enjoyment. That is called bliss. And that is possible also. So now,
स्वामी जी तो इसको क्या कहेंगे कि you know that I don't take tea.
eh?
Even desire for the tea, चाय को नहीं है. बाजू में कितने भी लोग चाय पिए, बाजू में कितने लोग उसको बोलो, हमको उसका डिजायर नहीं है. So what you are going to say with this?
That is called indifference, neither yes nor no. That is neutral state. That is called indifference. Upeksha, indifferent towards everything. neither yes nor no, in between. And that is what we consider Sandhya. Sandhya, in between two. And it has got two aspects. One is permanent, another is always changing aspect. Doubt, what is what? Between the two is known as the gap sandhya, and one is permanent substratum, eternal, continuous, and other is changing between the two. That is we call it as doubt. Sansayatvam vinasyati. You have to choose either of the two. If it is hanging in between two, you are nowhere. धोबी के कुत्ते ना घर के ना घाट के. अगर घर में रह गया तो ठीक है, नहीं तो घाट में जाओ, छलांग मारो गंगा जी में. एक तरफा तो हो जाओ, और एक तरफा तो हो ही नहीं सकता है. बीच में उसका जो बेसमेंट, जो होल्डर, which is permanent base substratum, if you can see that and be that, then all the solutions are there. So now, what is the conclusion? Can you enjoy? There is no question of your enjoyment. The question is gone from the root. The question is irrelevant. You cannot enjoy anything, so there is no question whether the enjoyment is the right process or renunciation. There is no, you cannot reject also, you cannot renounce anything. Of course, temporarily it appears as if you have renounced something. Who renounces what? Can you renounce your identity? The renuncier, can he renounce itself? So how the renunciation will be completed? No, but it will lead you to completeness. But acceptance cannot lead you to completeness. So, this much is the difference between Western philosophy and Eastern philosophy, Indian philosophy. Indian philosophy says renunciation is the only way to get everything, to have everything. But Western philosophy says searching or going for everything is the way to get everything. Find, you will get. But here, don't look at the object, you will get it. If you don't want anything, you will get everything. This is something peculiar. But this philosophy has to be understood basically, analytically, logically, from every angle, scientifically. Then only you can understand renunciation is the only way. Renunciation leads you to renounce renunciation. That is how you get permanent bliss. Bliss means contentment, means a state where everything ends. There is no acceptance, there is no rejection. So, if at all we are going to conclude something, then renunciation is better than enjoyment. Better. Why? Because it renounces renunciation itself. The desire to be desireless is better than the desire to get something. This is the only conclusion we can have.
I got another example, but I'll talk to you after the class, otherwise we will divert.
No, no, you can say, we have time. Another example? This is logical example. Some others, you see, we have several stories in our Puranas and our scriptures. Nobody has ever got godhood by enjoying the worldly objects. Nobody. No example you can get. But everybody is disappointed by enjoyment, and then they have renounced everything, and then they realized God. So many examples we have in our history, and practically also we can see. You go on enjoying, taste, but dangerous. Be careful. You will be in the dungeon playing with fire. Let me see what happens if I touch the fire. You can enjoy. Touch the naked electric wire. See what happens. If you don't believe others, you can have practical taste. So, seeing all these situations, our great seers, the great research students who have paid their lives for getting something, some conclusions, they have said, be in a good association always. That is the only way. Association is the cause for your betterment, your worsement, your destruction also. Both way. Association is the cause. So have good association, satsang. That is the only way to begin with and end with, and to be with it. सत्संग का महिमा इसीलिए तो कहा गया, सत्संग के बिना कोई रास्ता है ही नहीं. और I told you that day the story of our the great renunciate, our Bhartrihari. He asked the permission from his mother, and mother said, I will permit you if you obey my request. Be always inside the iron fort. No enemy can attack you. Be inside the fort made by iron. so strong. And he could not understand it. He asked, "Oh, how can I, when I am renouncing everything, the kingdom and uh, all everything in the uh, kingdom, how can you expect me to be in such a strong fort in the forest?" So mother explained him the greatest, strongest fort is satsang, good association. And this good association can be in any form. Say, discussing the scriptures, or contemplating yourself, or discussing among yourselves, or hearing some elderly or experienced people. Anyway, or going to churches or temples or somewhere where your mind will be away from the worldly enjoyments. So this is how you can have good association. Association is the root cause. Don't forget it, whether it is good or bad. And this is the root cause for the creation also. You are on a platform created by association, that is relativity. That is relationship. Association means relationship.
Please repeat
You
more.
cannot deny it. Day and night have satsang. That is the only way. If you have bad association, then get the result. And if you have good association, get the result. स्वामी जी हो जाए आपका हाँ हाँ मैं याद बहुत दिन से भूल गया था ये you see Mullah Nasruddin, he is a disciple of some great teacher. One day he runs to his teacher and he prays, "Oh my Guru, oh my Guruji, Guruji, please save me, save me. I am, somebody is going to kill me. I am going to die. Somebody is threatening me. And I cannot be saved by myself. Please, please save me, please save me." He was so much restless. He fell at his Guru's feet and, "Please save me, save me." The Guru asked, "What has happened? Why are you so restless? Tell me what has happened." So Nasruddin said, "Guruji, that fellow threatens me to kill me. He says, 'Don't chase my wife at night, or else I will kill you. Don't go behind my wife.'" So Guruji says, so, "It's okay. Are you going behind somebody's wife and he threatens you? So if he wants to kill you, don't go." "No, Guruji, the problem is I don't know who is threatening me." "Are why? How?" Somebody puts some uh, you see handwritten some information. He pushes it under the doors, and when I come from outside, I open my house doors, I find some paper is lying there, and there is a note, "Don't change my wife or else I will kill you." Says, "Okay, don't change his wife? No, Guruji, he never writes his name. He never signs there. So I don't know who is threatening me. Arey, my dear, if somebody is threatening him, let you don't know the name, but get rid of it. Why are you changing somebody's wife? No, Guruji, it is not one. How can I know whom should I give up? Had it been one, I would have known who is threatening me. But there are so many. Whom should I give up and whom should I follow? So don't change any desires. This was not his wife, but it was only multiple desires. Nasiruddin desires changes. We are all Nasiruddins, changing so many wives. Why it is wives of others? You see, everybody enjoys sweet, isn't it? So you also enjoy, isn't it? Are you getting my point? You enjoy what I enjoy. I like sweet and you like sweet. So both are behind him, behind it. So don't change my wife. Understood? No, you could not get the point. Wife, don't change my wife. That means don't change my wealth, my thing. Isn't it? If many people go behind one thing, then naturally there will be fight, isn't it? And there will be misunderstanding, enmity, jealousy. I enjoy sweet, so don't enjoy sweet anymore. If you enjoy sweet, you are changing my wife. Don't change my wife. All of us are only multiple Nasruddins. We enjoy each other's objects. So this should not be. What you enjoy, I should not enjoy it. That will be celibacy. That will be honesty. Yes, please don't enjoy it.
Swamiji is enjoying in their way. We will enjoy in our way. That's it.
Acha, same thing. No, that is not allowed. No. You can say, enjoy something else. If I enjoy Yoga Vasit, then you can enjoy Chitvilas. Chitvilas. क्या वो संजय दूसरा किताब त्रिपुरा रहस्य हाँ you can enjoy that. So anyway, now we have come to some conclusion. The conclusion is Tyagat Santiranantaram, the absolute eternal abode which is known as the abode of eternal peace. You can have only by renunciating the renunciation itself. There is no other go. There is no question of enjoying the enjoyments, but renouncing the enjoyments. And renouncing finally the renouncier identity itself. I say he, जो मीराबाई कभी आत्महत्या करने के लिए आधा रात गई थी, कृष्ण भगवान उसको बचाए थे, इसी को समझाने के लिए। Who is doing, who is going to do suicide, and what is you are going to finish? Is this body yours? You can kill this body. Who is enjoying, who is suffering? When you have given up everything, then you have to give up your identity. I have given up. I have renounced everything. I have given my body to Lord. That also should be renounced. And similarly, the Guru of Sikhidhwaj, indirect Guru, indirectly his wife only came as Guru. She taught him in the end this lesson, that you have to find out the renuncier. Who is renouncing? You have to renounce that, renunciate also. That is the real, all renunciation, full renunciation. And many other, our Lord Buddha also, many other examples are there. In the end, you have to renounce your identity.
You have to drop I.
I, yes. That I should be crossed into paste, and you should lick it and enjoy that. That is the only enjoyment. That is the final enjoyment we can have. This I should be crossed into powder, paste, and we should lick it.
Fried.
Yes, fried it. थोड़ा तुड़का डाल दें, हींग का या लहसुन का, बताओ. Hari Om. Today this much, and tomorrow we shall see further. इसीलिए हम इतने बारीकी में जाते हैं. ये होता है कैसे, क्या होता है, क्यों होता है, कैसे होता है, करने वाला कौन, ये इच्छाएं होते हैं कैसे पैदा. जड़ है एसोसिएशन. एक दूसरे के साथ जो संपर्क, एक नजदीकपना, इसी को तो हम एंजॉयमेंट कहते हैं. और क्या होता है, और क्या हो जाता है आखिर. गरम कपड़ा ठंडी में चाहिए, क्या उसका खा पी करके निकल करके खून बनाते हो. अरे पहनता है, अरे ज़्यादा गर्म हो गया तो फेंक दो. सारे जो भोग होता है, भोग मतलब सिर्फ नजदीकपना, और कुछ नहीं, और कुछ नहीं. ये नजदीकपना को दूर कर देना त्याग है. और दूर कर दोगे कैसे? मन से और शरीर से, इंद्रियों से, भावनाओं से, बुद्धि से. और बिल्कुल उसके बारे में अगर नहीं सोचा, कंप्लीट इंडिफरेंस, वो सबसे बढ़िया त्याग है. ना त्यागा ना न त्यागा. और इसी को इनडायरेक्टली हमको जो वर्तमान में जीना, whatever is told by the great philosophers, great saints, live at present. That means don't give up anything nor expect anything, whatever comes in the way. Live unto it. No acceptance, no rejection, nothing. Be indifferent. That is the only way to be in bliss. That is the only way. Future means expectation, past means clinginess. So both are rejected. Live at present. Hari Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnada Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevamashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadguru Bhagavan ki jai. Sachidananda Bhagavan ki jai. Sabda Brahma ki jai. Saraswati Maharani ki jai. Jagavasir Ji Bhagavan ki jai. Hari